Alright, well, let's do it. I'm keeping everyone waiting. Alright, I'm gonna count down in 3, 2, 1, go! Woo! So, this has been like the result, like this current route. It's been used for a couple of years now, but just tons of optimization for this game in the 15 years it's been out. So, come on, fast targets? Nope, not really fast targets. Actually, I'm just going really slow. Probably lost a couple of seconds there, but there's another phase 2, which is a lot easier if I can do this fast. Okay, that was not great, but it was okay enough for my needs. And you saw I just got a huge burst of speed, just going sideways there. Basically, because this is a single stick, like sort of first-person shooter, instead of just manually aiming like you would in like Halo, Call of Duty, etc. on console, this game has a like Ocarina of Time style like lock-on system, where you strafe around an enemy by holding down the L button, and you can do these things called strafe dashes or strafe jumps, where you can sort of hop to the side really quickly to like dodge attacks. Well, you can abuse this mechanic by letting go of your lock-on right after you strafe dash to the either side, left or right. And so what happens is you just maintain your gigantic burst of speed, and you can just leap over like incredibly large gaps. It's even more pronounced once you get space jump boots, which give you a second jump.
So you're talking about scan dashes?
Yeah,
now,
yeah. And so it works exactly the same, even if you're like just scanning an enemy, or if you're like actually like in combat mode.
Yeah.
So like right there, I just did a scan dash with the scan visor, and that's like the most common thing. You think the scan visor is kind of useless aside from like required story progression or looking up the lore of the game, but it's actually really useful because with the scan visor, you have a lot of lock-on points you can use. And
yeah,
so
it's like the fastest method of me.
Yeah, definitely the fastest.
Movement.
Besides like boost ball, it's definitely the fastest method of movement. I don't want to fall down here, so I'm just gonna kill that space pirate.
Yeah, but boost ball later is more used because it's more versatile.
Yeah, it is a bit of a commitment because every time you morph or unmorph, it takes 60 frames or exactly a second, and so you want to be able to time your morphs and unmorphs for you're not losing time. Otherwise, that can add up. The time loss can add up quickly if you're not optimal with it. So this level here is the frigate. I'm out in space right now. It's just a pretty linear like tutorial level to get you sort of comfortable with the controls and how the game works. And we're on our way to the first boss of the game, the Parasite Queen. If I do this right, which I'm not sure, you can actually quick kill this boss pretty quick. Hence the term quick kill.
Showing what the controls do, and that shortly, like the opposite of what Prime 3.
I didn't quite get it. I aimed too low. That worked out. That was a missile off. Normally what you're supposed to do is use the scan visor to scan the Parasite Queen. And what happens is, by default, you're locked onto its belly, which doesn't do as much damage as its head. If you hit its face, you do double damage, basically. So what you do is, by scanning Parasite Queen, it's supposed to give you an idea of like, hey, use the scan visor, and good stuff can happen. So what happens is, if you scan it, your lock-on changes from its belly to its face. But you can just manually aim up and just shoot missiles at its face, no problem. Like, the hitbox for it is still there. So I'm gonna dash off this pirate and this pirate. Didn't go quite as fast as I wanted to, but with this scan dash, I can just, well, get caught in that beam there. If you're fast enough, you can actually beat the load for the next room, and so it'll appear black and then just all of a sudden pop into view. More experienced runners go for an out-of-bounds trick in this game, and there's actually a considerable amount of out-of-bounds that you can do across all 3 Prime games. Oh, I already shot that door. That's right. That's what I get for autopiloting, unfortunately.
But out of bounds, especially in that game, is like super unforgiving. So
it really is in Prime 1. It's a lot better in Prime 2 and 3, especially when you have like Screw Attack to be able to just find, you know, way more places that you can actually go out of bounds with. So yeah, even though I know some out of bounds tricks, and I actually got that dash for once, that's nice. That saves about like 2 seconds, I think, if you do it right. This run will be entirely inbounds, but there's still a considerable amount of tricks you can do inbounds. In fact, the any percent route for Prime 1 isn't too different inbounds than it is out of bounds. Also, you just kind of see this target reticle on the middle, and I'm sort of pressing that as I'm jumping. What I'm doing is I'm holding down the L button for about a quarter of a second throughout the jump. And this is a technique called L jumping that gives you additional speed and also lets you jump farther across gaps. It's a faster form of movement than just walking on the ground. You can also combine it later with what's called an R jump. Really useful only when you have space jump boots. Again, just a simple method of letting you jump farther and also move faster, depending on what you're doing. So you'll see me L jumping throughout these hallways, or I guess you have been seeing me using L jumps just to be able to walk through these hallways quicker. I only try to do it when I'm going uphill. Otherwise, if I'm on like flat terrain, I'm better off being in Morph Ball. Morph Ball travels faster than walking.
It's about double.
It's about double the speed as your normal walk speed.
Yeah.
And I'll just sort of clip through the electricity here. Not quite clipping it through, but by just morphing through it and unmorphing it, it's just a pretty consistent way of doing it. This is the cutscene here where Samus loses her items. You actually skip this cutscene if you go out of bounds. However, there's an additional check the game does where you'll still lose your items anyway as soon as you land on the planet Talon 4, which is where it's the planet where like the rest of the game takes place. All right, so I should actually see. Actually, never mind. I missed that one dash in the beginning. So this will be like this will be barely above 4 minutes 20 seconds. No, never mind. This will be like 4:18, I think. Kind of slow, actually. Not that great. Oh yeah, there's Ridley. He's cool. You won't see him for the whole game. So, for those that maybe have played like Super Metroid but not Metroid Prime, a lot of the game mechanics actually carry over from Super Metroid.
Yeah, we will never see Whitley again. We will never do 50,000. You will never do 50,000 damage per frame to him. No.
That's later, dude. That's much later. Alright, I didn't see any frame skips in OBS here, but I'm going to lower the bitrate just a little bit, make it easier on Sasaki. Alright, so we're on the planet, we've lost all of our upgrades, but we're going to quickly get them back. So by scan dashing off that guy, I skip like all the early game almost. Not quite skip it, but I just heavily sequence break it, and it just so happens that the space jump boots, which give you your double jump, probably one of the best items for speedrunning this game, if not the best, just happens to be right behind your ship when you start. So now I have my double jump. While space jump boots are a relatively early game item, you're not supposed to get them until about, I don't know, a couple hours in. You're like, if you're playing casually. But by getting space jump now, the early game is just broken considerably. Like I can skip having to go through a bunch of rooms by having space jump alone.
Like in a normal game, it's involved with a hell lot of backtracking.
Yeah, and it skips the whole backtrack. Yeah. You're expected to go all the way to like this ice world, which is quite far away from where you start the game, and then you're expected to come all the way back to get space jump.
And then
you go all the way back again.
Ice world.
It's annoying because it's so bad. But
the backtracking of Prime 1 was pretty flawed.
Yeah. It's actually kind of amazing that all 3 Prime games allow you to have space jump early. The first 2 games by virtue of several pretty significant tricks, and then I think Retro Studios, the developer of the Prime games, realized, okay, you know what, let's just give you space jump at the beginning, so you can just have your double jump, you know, you can have your cake and eat it too. Normally you're supposed to go through a series of rooms to get missiles and then this energy tank. So instead of just going all the way to the first mini-boss, the Hive Mecha, I'm going to click that missile expansion on that half-pipe, and then this energy tank up on this, on that ledge there. It is a bit out of the way to get the energy tank, but I'd rather have enough health going into the first boss. So I have a significant, basically, it makes the early game significantly safer. And then here's Morph Ball.
Do you on the fight the boss?
Oh yeah, I just jumped over that. There's another boss here that I'm triggering here. I actually go back into the cutscene to save in game time just a little bit. It helps set me up for a nice dash over this half pipe, which I got. Oh, I actually cleared the whole thing. Nice. You're expected to like jump into this pit, fight a bunch of beetles, and then there's like this other mini boss that comes out. But you don't even need space jump to skip it. You can just scan dash over it, and instead of fighting them, you just get the mini boss music for about, I don't know, 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Hardest jump in the game for sure. So with space jump, we're already seeing like a considerable amount of like speed increase here. We already have missiles and we have Morph Ball. We're on our way to get charge beam here. So this room is special. If usually you have to go through what's called a load trigger to load a room that's ahead of you. All these hallways that connect to this room load automatically, and so I can get away with using the pause screen to pause the game while the room still loads, and that saves on the game's in-game timer. Unlike other games, Metroid Prime is actually run for in-game time and has been since around 2002 or 2003 when the speedrun community for it came together. So you'll see me later on like wait out cutscenes and stuff. That's basically to save on the in-game timer, even if it loses real time. So Charge Beam is in this room, and while it is another out-of-the-way item, it makes combat significantly better and faster, and I also failed that jump again. That's fine, there's a backup that I do.
It's very useful for the
I landed on the side of it, that was weird. So it involves this puzzle where you have to scan these runes to unlock this gate.
Like, otherwise the final boss would be very terrible.
And then quick movement here just to scan dash to the Charge Beam. So now we have Charge Beam. So for the Power Beam, which is your default beam, Power Beam does, does 2 damage per shot that's uncharged. When you charge it, it's 50. It's considerably more. It just, again, makes a lot of combat, especially towards the end game, a lot easier, a lot faster. You don't have to mash the A button so much. Alright, so you're going to see me shoot this, open up this door that's blocked by a missile gate. This is very important later on. I kind of lost the scan, but that should be fine. Okay, we're good. So that room over there is a save point. I need to have that save point accessible later on. If I come back to it later and I don't have that missile gate open, I'll effectively soft lock myself, or not necessarily soft lock, but it'll be much slower than just having that room open for me to use. So that was kind of a sketchy jump. If you run into walls while you're scan dashing or just moving in the air, it sort of takes away all of your momentum, so you don't want to run to a wall if you can, in like a hallway. Also, this is the worst boss in the game. The Incinerator Drone, also known as Zoid. Complete auto-scroller boss. Has 4 phases to it. First phase can last anywhere between 8 and 13 seconds, and then the other phases are between 15 and 25. So I can basically lose no time or lose up to 5 seconds for that round I just did, and then rounds 2 through 4 have 10 seconds of variance. So in total, this boss fight can give you up to 35 seconds of time loss.
Like roundabout, you want to defeat before the music starts looping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this boss music will loop after a certain amount. If you have good luck, then you'll have the boss fight ended before the music loops. Also, these wasps like to kind of knock me off sometimes. Usually they just kind of keep their distance, but... And what's cool is that, you know, this guy like kind of shoots flames all around the room, but with like space jump. Not even with space jump, you can just do what's also called a slope jump, which I forgot to mention earlier. That's how I got the first missile pack. You can just jump on the side of this guy and then just wait. So, kill them before the music loop. That's pretty decent. And there we have Morph Ball Bombs. So that's all the early game items in 15 minutes. Alright, there's a frame-perfect trick I can do here, where I can unmorph before the sort of item collection thing happens. I'm going to try to get it. Oh, I didn't get it. Tried mashing it, but...
Like, all the drone spawns in the Prime games have a bad reputation. They are very bad.
Yeah, Prime 2 has one in the, like, sort of like the, like, 2/3 of the game that's, like, it's interesting, but it's an auto-scroller, basically.
It's terrible for once.
So, I'm not going out of bounds. Normally, if you go out of bounds, you skip doing this bomb puzzle to, not just lower the water, but it unlocks this door in this room. So this door on that upper right corner you see there, with that, like, spider pattern there, I'm not sure what to call it. That's a lock, basically. So I have to complete this puzzle to unlock that door. If you're doing the out-of-bounds trick known as IBBF, where you just completely skip that door, you don't have to do this puzzle. Thanks, Whiskers. I am actually seeing the fundraising chat, so I apologize I haven't been talkative in the with the chat.
Wait, but...
Shoutouts to Jack879. He loves this puzzle, and so do I. Everyone else hates it. I think it's just a meme. I don't know if he actually does or not.
But the Morph Ball jump there before Flagra, doesn't that only work in the 0.0 version, or...?
I think you could actually do IBF in Trilogy. I think if Hazel, I think, does IBF.
No, not Ice Beam before Flagra. The bomb jump before the door before Flagra.
Yeah, that's been patched out, I believe. So I'm gonna collect this missile expansion, just not too out of the way. So while I normally ignore the save station, I'm just gonna save here. I don't want to necessarily die to Flagra, but I'd rather not have to reset all the way back here. Also, I probably should have gotten another energy tank, but I'm pretty confident with the fight where there's really not that big of a risk of dying, especially with 199 health. So there's another, like, sort of scan puzzle, like what I did with the charge beam you're supposed to do in this room. I'm just gonna skip it. This works on the, sort of the 1.0 and 1.0. Oh, I fell down. Okay, this isn't a big deal. I can just come back up.
Okay, so the delay is pretty big. Where are you now?
I'm in Arboretum. I'm jumping up the tree at the moment. So I can jump on the wasp hives and avoid the triggers that make the war wasps come out. I don't know how that made it. So yeah, I can just jump over this gate. There's a sort of a hole in the collision. And then I abuse the camera. If you place like an object in like a wall or something in between the camera and the morph ball, it'll just skip the unmorphing animation entirely. This is actually really useful for an upcoming trick much later in the run that we need to skip Spider Ball with. And it's called an instant unmorph, and then you can combine it while you're like sort of bomb jumping in the air to make the game. You know, I'll just talk about that trick later on since I'm not doing it yet. This is Flagra. He's a interesting boss. Another thing with like the in-game timer and real time, this boss fight takes a few minutes, whereas with the in-game timer, it's about 20 seconds. It's just full of cutscenes, like this one.
Okay, can I explain what you're doing with? Or...
Yeah.
Okay, so the gimmick of Flagra is that you need to shoot down some lamps without letting her grow. And then basically burn her to death like 4 times, which gets each time more difficult. But the morph ball slots to use there are not usable until you like use one of them, like shoot her down once, and
there's something with the fight where you have to actually go into the tunnel and then bomb that first slot. But the other slots are interesting because they're just damage triggers, so you don't actually have to be in the morph ball tunnel to hit them. It's kind of interesting. I can just go on the outside of them and bomb them from the outside. They're the only bomb slots that actually do this for some reason.
Because the hitbox is like gigantic.
Yeah. Normally what happens is throughout every time you bomb the slots and Flagra loses health, one more of those like mirror dishes comes down, and you have to knock all of them to sort of incapacitate Flagra. and then that'll make the bomb slots available for you to bomb.
And because Flagware will never go down, it glitches the entire animation. It's really funny to look at.
Yeah. So by just dashing to the bomb slots, you can just skip the entire fight. Makes it a lot faster, even though you're still dealing with cutscenes. And then what's interesting is, by skipping the sort of the sequence of the fight, Flogger will just kind of slash at where you're supposed to be, but you don't take damage in cutscenes, so. Yeah, Thardus just takes a long time to kill, too. Pretty bad boss.
Metroid casually, too. Because of the whole flying thing.
Coming up is, well, there's this cutscene I have to wait through first. Coming up is a trick called Early Wild. I'm gonna need serious time for it, but, in addition to be able, collecting enough upgrades to just traverse through the game, you're more limited in, like, where you can go as opposed to, like, the developers putting, like, a invisible wall in the way or anything like that. But there is the final level is basically locked by these 12 keys known as artifacts. And so you have to kind of go out of your way in collecting them. It's probably one of the worst parts of this game. It requires a lot of backtracking casually, and you don't necessarily know where all the artifacts are. Well, just so happens that you have to come back to this room later on, after you get Super Missiles and Spider Ball. And there's a Chozo artifact where Flogger was, so. What's gonna happen is I'm gonna basically nestle myself in a corner, and that'll slow me down enough where I can actually just bomb jump infinitely. So I'm gonna need serious time right now. Actually, that didn't look good. Hold on, let me try this again. So I'll need serious time. Okay, good. That trick is actually really punishing because if you fail that trick, it's basically run over. You lose like 5 minutes because there's no other way to get back up without getting Spider Ball and technically Super Missiles. Big time loss all around. Absolute run killer. Not a hard trick to do. It's just if you fail it, it's just run over. But what happens is I have to hit a trigger to make this new layer load with these Chozo Ghosts. And by going down there and then bomb jumping back up without Spider Ball, I can activate this fight right now, instead of later. So Chozo Ghosts kind of suck. They can disappear at will, or not at will, but just... They like to fly around a lot, they like to disappear from you as they dash around. But I actually got this guy nicely stun locks.
And they can only be hit by the power beam.
Yeah, you can't... None other beams can actually kill them. That actually went pretty okay, except I need to... Okay, I don't know where he went. He's behind me, I think. Nope, never mind. He's up here.
Like, most of the time you would just want to stun lock them with partially loaded charge beam shots.
So by waiting for them to just, like, right before they dash, you can actually stun lock them if you're fast enough. But, that first Chozo Ghost I was able to actually stun lock until he died. But, oh, I was too early on him, so he's gonna disappear. Oh my god, I got the rare animation, let's go. Thank god it's not the last Chozo Ghost. I got that in my practice run tonight. Oh no, I still lost time! He's not dead.
Oh no!
So he's just gonna stand there and then he's just gonna randomly die. No problem. Oh, and he died.
Okay.
I got that in my practice run somehow, and then I got it again right afterwards for this run. I'm so happy. I'm gonna scan dash off that refill and just make my way to the door. Yeah, Chozo Ghosts suck. They can if they want to make you lose time, you'll lose time. So I actually had a backup save in case I failed that trick because I'm not gonna come back with Super Missiles at all. So thankfully it's just a Chozo Ghost fight. They're not too interesting enemies. It does kind of suck though because Power Beam is like not the strongest beam you have, and that's the only thing that can kill them. What's even worse is that you kind of want X-Ray Visor and Super Missiles to kill them quicker, but we're only getting X-Ray in like halfway through the run, and by the time we get X-Ray, we're done with all the required Chozo Ghost fights. So the reason we you get Various Suit from Flagra is it protects you from heat damage, and Magmor is a very important room. Besides me like hitting the platforms there, it connects all the major areas of the game together, but you take heat damage without Various Suit. And while you can skip Various Suit, you do need at least 3 energy tanks and be a god at the game, or have at least 4 energy tanks to go through this region with just Power Suit. Hidden Chozo artifact there. I think the developers expected you to have super missiles and X-ray visor to check it out, but two missiles are enough to just sort of break that rock, and then you can just immediately get this artifact. Kind of a more hidden one, but it's right there, so we can just get it right now. So nothing too much happening in Magmor. My goal is to actually get to... Oh my god, I almost got... Oh, well, he got me, so... These Treadclops are really annoying. They like to grab onto you, and then you have to wiggle yourself out. I actually didn't know you could wiggle out until, like, last year, even though I've played this game casually for years. So, right now I'm just trying to get to the sort of ice level called Fidron Drifts. Very popular, sort of fan favorite level in this game. Really, really great music, very serene environment. So I'm just gonna stand up on the sledge here and then just dash across this bridge. Except I undershot it again. I don't know what happened. I'm gonna be a little careful here because these turrets can do a lot of damage. So I'm okay though. Thankfully, there's an energy tank right here that I can get. It's called Race Tank, useful for SRL races. It makes the latter half of the run just a lot safer. Oh, that was way too high. I was grabbing my water, so. So what's neat about Phendrana is that we're only visiting it twice. Like, we're really not staying in Phendrana for too long. Which kind of sucks, because there's some really interesting sections of this game when you play it casually, like Pirate Labs, going to Chozo Ice Temple. One thing I was going to show off there, but I didn't, was a cutscene you wait out. For the sake of just RTA, I'm just going to skip it. But what happens is Samus's position will reset. I overshot this platform. I was trying to scan dash to this platform right here.
Basically, you move in the cutscene with Samus.
Yeah.
Like, short explanation.
I could get the Wave Beam right now, actually. You don't necessarily need Boost Ball for it, but I do need Boost Ball for an upcoming trick that's very important. One of the biggest sequence breaks in the run, in addition to getting Space Jump early. So what you're expected to do is, you know, you still don't have Space Jump at this point, so after you get Boost Ball, which is in this upcoming room, you go all the way back to get where Space Jump was, and then come all the way back here again to get Wave Beam. Alright, so this is kind of a timer-based room with these snow cone enemies. I'm just going to try to go through it fast enough and get this dash, which I did. Cool. You can lose a lot of time if you fail this dash and fall all the way back to the bottom of the room. Yeah, even the top runners with Whiskers still get the energy tank, so... I mean, you know that, so... So because I did this room fast, there's a snow cone enemy that... oh, that wasn't a very good dash. I hit the wall. So he's gonna be right there. He can hide behind this wall here, that ice wall, and then I can't lock onto him. So Boost Ball is the fastest form of method in the game when you're in Morph Ball. It makes, like uphill climbs with Morph Ball just a breeze. You move really fast in short bursts. Very spammable.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. It's amazing. And it's an early game item too, which makes it better. So you'll see Boost Ball throughout a lot of the run. Oh, I fell down. Okay, that's fine. This cutscene plays when you get Boost Ball. It's kind of weird. Shoutouts to Ridley. So we're here for 3 items. We just got Boost Ball, and then we're gonna get Wave Beam and a different. Sorry, I don't know why I'm like getting my tongue twisted for some reason. I probably shouldn't have fired that missile, but whatever. Swag. If you're going out of bounds, this is one of those sections where you can actually do a faster strat by going out of bounds. It allows you to skip the upcoming mini-boss fight and collect both Wave Beam and the Artifact of Sun at the same time. Normally with Artifact of Sun, you need Plasma Beam for it to melt the ice. So there's this fountain you'll see on the left here. Oh, actually not quite, but next to this gate that just opened. I'll just show it off. This guy, you have to sort of melt the ice with Plasma Beam, and then it'll open up this, this like, sort of chamber that has the Artifact of Sun hidden away. So it's meant to be a late game artifact that you get, but we're just gonna get it really soon with a really cool trick. Oh shoot, actually made it. But inbounds isn't much slower than out of bounds, so I think the Wave Sun wall crawl saves like 35 seconds over this, so it's still pretty significant, but you can still go fast inbounds.
It was like the reason why you run it inbounds.
I'm surprised this guy didn't charge at me immediately. These Shigoths, when you're far away, they'll like to charge and close their distance between you, but like what he just did. So those crates over there, I want to keep. I don't want to break them yet, but so this is the second part of the boss fight. The adult Shigoth spawns, and there's a method where you can kill him pretty quickly. Hopefully, I get it. I have to sort of get right underneath her mouth, like this. And that didn't quite work out, but it was quick enough, I guess. By getting the Shigoth in that sort of like stunned animation, you do like I think triple damage against it. It's kind of ridiculous. All right, so coming up is this trick called Infinite Speed. This crazy fast trick that lets you go out of bounds. By sort of nestling myself in between these crates and this wall. Am I getting my camera set up just right? I can move the morph ball without any sort of friction whatsoever. And while it looks like the morph balls... Oh, yeah, you can go ahead and explain this.
Oh, okay. So basically he just presses down right like for 50 seconds to increase his negative speed so much that the game completely freaks out and the morph ball shell will completely disappear.
It looks like it looks like my morph ball is slowed down, it's just stuttering. It's actually rotating really fast. Really, really fast.
It's like used in... Well, it was used in Prime 2 for the old item loss skip, but it's not used anymore.
You can actually use this, I think, in like 1, 2, and 3, if I'm not mistaken. And I think this Infinite Speed glitch was discovered in the trilogy version. Funny enough.
Classic. Not sure with Prime 3.
I was told Prime 3 works. I know Echoes works. I just it's not useful. I don't think at 80% or hundo. So I know we're doing nothing for like a minute here. I'm just holding down a direction on the control stick. Trust me, this is actually like we're going fast. We're going really, really fast. This trick's also why Morph Ball is important. We need Morph Ball first in order to do this because while we can enter the state of Infinite Speed where the Morph Ball shell will soon disappear, you'll see when I'm in Infinite Speed. I need Boost Ball in order to actually be able to use it. Okay, yeah, so now the game sort of doesn't know what to do, so it does this to my Morph Ball. I need that Wave Beam door open, otherwise I soft lock. Alright, so by boosting into like a wall or a slope, it sort of puts my Morph Ball everywhere at once, and it lets me collect this artifact without needing Plasma Beam. You can also collect a missile this way too, but we don't need it as much. And then I can cancel the effects of Infinite Speed by unmorphing and then morphing in a spot where the camera's scripted. Unmorphing at this point is really dangerous because you have sort of no control over where your beam shots go. It's a kind of a it's a side effect called Light Show, and if you unmorph and activate Light Show, you can't get rid of it unless you put the camera in a certain way while you're in Morph Ball, and that doesn't completely get rid of Light Show. To get rid of it, you have to activate a cutscene like going to a save station. So I'm just gonna show off the effects of Light Show now. Like I can't see anything. Like it looks like I'm firing my beam, but it's not going anywhere. And it's just a side effect of the camera, but by entering an elevator, if I can find it, there we go. So by entering an elevator or a save station, what happens is the camera values also get affected by Infinite Speed, and the game doesn't know what to do with it, so your camera just gets all sorts of messed up. But by entering a cutscene, it fixes itself, so then you're good to go.
So while you go to Ice Beam, why do you run the game inbound?
I'm a relatively new runner. I started running this game like a year ago, and my goal initially was to get sub 110 inbounds, which I actually did. As though I am still running it inbounds, I just haven't really bothered learning, practicing the various out of bounds segments I want to do. I know how to do several of them. It's just there's another Chozo artifact. Again, we need 12 to get to the last level in the game. Even if we have all the upgrades, we actually can't get to the last level until we collect every Chozo artifact. So right now it's just personal preference. I haven't really like made time to practice the out of bounds stuff, although I will shortly.
Yeah, same.
So we're making our way back to Chozo Ruins. We're doing a little bit of cleanup, and then we have to go. We're gonna go straight for Ice Beam. Normally, you're supposed to fight. I don't know why I morphed. That was dumb. Normally, we'd go into the pirate labs, collect stuff like super missiles, thermal visor, and then we eventually fight this boss called Thardus. He's like this gigantic rock monster, kind of imposing dude. Notorious for being a relatively long boss fight. Oh, this is bad. I'm losing a lot of health. I still have plenty of health left, so this isn't a big deal. But we're not going to worry about any of that. So that first half of Vendrana, where we got Boost Ball and Wave Beam and stuff, we're not going there ever again. That's all we need first half for. We've got all the required stuff we need. I think it's faster to get this missile on the way back, but, bad on morph. With a good boost, too, you can sort of boost out from underneath the bridge, but that didn't happen to me. That jump is actually kind of weird. It's tricky. Oh, that's not good. I'm gonna get warped underneath. Oh, okay, we're okay. Or not. Nope, never mind. Yeah, one thing I haven't really been mentioning is that there's a lot of terrain that you can actually stand on in this game. It's kind of weird, but you can. Oh, that's what I was supposed to stand on. Okay. So there's like various like sort of walls and stuff that look like, you know, you can just sorry about my text messages. My cell phone's blasting, man. People are sliding into my DMs. Alright. What was I saying? Yeah, so, coming up, I'm cleaning up and getting another artifact, as I'm coming back into Chozo Ruins. I'm gonna skip both Boost Ball and Spider Ball, even though I do have Boost Ball. I can actually boost up this, wall here. Saves a little bit of time. So we're coming back into the room where Morph Ball was. There's another room at the end of it that you need Spider Ball for, as well as Boost Ball. But we actually don't need either item. So again, a lot of terrain in this game you can actually stand on. So I'm gonna stand on this branch, no problem. And then climb up to the top, scan dash across, and I skip both Boost and Spider. I got caught on the ground. Sometimes when you're in Boost Ball and you boost, the game will just sort of get you stuck in the ground for no reason. And I think, hey, we don't have gravity suit. Well, with slope jumping underwater, you can just make these gigantic jumps and not need gravity suit. One thing with slope, so I didn't really explain slope jumping. There's not too many instances where it's useful, or where you'll see it in this run, although it's actually a very useful trick for any percent. By jumping against a slope, you gain extra height. I don't know why it's the case, but it just sort of forces you to jump up higher than you normally would off the ground. Let's see if I get hole in one again. I didn't quite get the boost I wanted. So while you can gain a decent amount of height with a slope jump, underwater it's just enormous. Although it only works when you don't have gravity suit. You can still slope jump with gravity suit, it's not as big of an effect underwater as if you didn't have gravity suit equipped. I should have probably stayed morphed here. It would let me get to this room quicker, but... I mean, auto loads anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. That was weird. I don't know why I just stayed morphed like that. Alright, so coming up here is the second sequence of, or the second instance of infinite speed you'll see here. I'm way too far back. Whoops. So again, we're just going to nestle ourselves in between this, these crates and this wall, and we're just going to go fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. And actually, even though it takes about 50 seconds of in-game time, you actually experience lag frames both in this room and the room that I was just in when I did the first instance of infinite speed. And so, like, the first room took, like, probably a minute 30 seconds. It doesn't affect the in-game timer at all, because it's affected by the frame rate, too. It ticks up each frame. Oh my god, excuse me. I'm talking so much, man. My throat's just, it's going out on me. So, the reason we do this here is, this is actually one of the reasons why the new route was formed. We don't have power bombs yet. Normally, you'd have to go all the way into Phazon mines and get them. And you're supposed to have power bombs to get this power bomb expansion. However, with infinite speed, we can just bypass that altogether, get power bombs right now. And that's pretty significant because, A, we can just go straight to X-ray visor without having to go to mines. I'm gonna be a little careful here just so I don't actually die. So yeah, this works when you, like, again, boost into a wall or a slope. So now we have power bombs, and it's big. Now we don't have to go to mines to get bombs or power bombs, then have to go back later. We can just make a one trip. We can make only one trip through mines. It's really nice. I'm gonna activate light show and then get rid of infinite speed. Again, that's a scripted camera. So by doing that, when you remorph, it allows you to get rid of infinite speed. When you boost with infinite speed, it's a little dangerous because you can hit loading triggers and stuff and load extra rooms that you don't necessarily want to, in addition to getting items. You also collide with, like, anything like enemies and stuff too. So you can potentially crash the game with infinite speed on. So by getting rid of it, we can just boost without any repercussions. So, and then this is also the reason why I blew up that missile door. That way I can just go to the save station and get rid of the effects of infinite speed. You can still get rid of it without the save station, but I'll just save here. Yeah, gotta go fast for sure. It's just a lot slower if you go back to, like, the elevator and then come back up. Since we need to go this way anyway, it works out. This is where you do the out-of-bounds sequence known as Ice Beam before Flagra, except in this case it's after Flagra. But since I'm doing this inbounds, we're not doing that. That's why so this is why I did that bomb puzzle before I fought Flagra. It's so I can go through that door that's up ahead. And I fell down. You do fall down a bit in this run. Normally you don't get this energy tank. I'm just gonna get it for safety. I'm not too concerned about this run right now. There's other energy tanks I can get. I'm just gonna get this just to be extra safe. Safety first, kids. Also, there's a spider track here. You kind of need spider ball for it, except you don't. If you just press up against the corner, you can just jump on it a bunch and then fall down because I didn't quite get in the hole. Oh, excuse me. So I can just jump up against the side here and then just roll in. Come on, buddy, you got this. Come on, dude. Oh no. It's actually not too difficult getting in there. I'm just being dumb at the moment, I guess. Ah, okay, whatever. Usually I don't have much of a problem. I'm just being stupid. That should be better. No, it's not. What the heck? Holy crap. This is actually like a really easy trick. This game has been patched, dude. I don't know what to tell you. There we go.
I call hacks.
Pretty much. So now we just skip having to get Spider Ball, at least for this section, and we can go straight for Ice Beam. Right after getting Wave Beam. It's really nice. You're also normally expected to, I think, have supers or something. Or no, you're expected to just have Boost Ball. You can get another, like, a missile expansion here, but Don't need that. And then with the R jump, you can just jump across. I think you can also L jump across that half pipe, but really not that big of a deal. So, again, you normally need to kill this ghost first, and then you have to have Spider Ball to sort of activate these bomb slots in this room to get out. But we're just going to jump up here and skip that. Because why not? So here's the other required ghost fight we have to do. It's just one Chozo ghost fight, thankfully, but although if you defeat this guy and come back later after you take out one of the bomb slots here, 3 more appear in here and it's annoying. So again, you want to kind of still unlock him, but I'm going to go for a neat little trick here. So I'm going to activate this wave beam bomb slot now. Wave beam kind of has weird hitboxes, so I want to get close so I can actually hit it. So by bombing this as the Chozo Ghost dies, I overlap these 2 cutscenes that appear. I'm going to be placed immediately in front of this Chozo Ghost statue, which is great because I want to jump into it. So this is just another in-game time save. I think also an RTA time save. It allows me to just play out both cutscenes at once. So you're watching less cutscenes overall, and then because the game plays that was a nice drop. Yeah, Spider Ball augmentation required for sure.
You evil cheater.
Yeah, so I can just jump straight into the statue and morph into it, and now I'm out of this room. We do need to come back later for a Chozo artifact, but we don't have Plasma Beam yet. You could use an instance of infinite speed, but it requires going out of bounds, and we're not doing that this run. We slope jump off the back of that stone toad to skip needing to drain the pool, and using boost ball. Waiting out that cutscene is actually faster because you can immediately equip Ice Beam. It saves like I think 0.8 seconds, but now we have Ice Beam, so already in 45 minutes we're just like kind of like halfway through this run almost. And Ice Beam's right around where the halfway point of this game is, I feel like. So
yeah,
lots and lots of just optimizations done to get through this game as fast as possible. So we're making a pit stop here in Talon Overworld. I think normally you would go straight to mines first. We're not doing that. We could, we just don't want to.
no,
It requires doing.
would...
Yeah, I don't want to jump over some bars at the moment. It's kind of dumb. So we're just gonna go get X-ray visor now that we have power bombs. Again, normally you're supposed to go to mines first, then come back here for X-ray visor, but since we already have a power bomb, we just again skip an entire trek through phase on mines. So this power bomb lets us get through here. Yeah, I'm entering Life Grove Tunnel now. Oh yeah, worst room in the game. If you want to talk about it, I'm going on this half pipe right now.
Okay, so
oh, I just got caught. Oh man.
This half pipe is like the worst room in all of gaming. No, so here you can so often just knock against the collision while you're boosting through this and just lose all of your momentum, and like on the top of the half pipe base and missile container where you need to go, and it's like super bad to get it, and it's
yeah, and we have to go back to this room to get out of here. So
it's just really shit.
Now, X-ray is absolutely a late game item, so getting it this early in the run is kind of great. We actually get it before Thermal Visor, which is funny enough. There's also a Chozo artifact in this room we need, so extra incentive to go here. We actually, while X-ray Visor on its own doesn't provide a lot of like functionality, it actually is a required item for a boss that's coming up later on. We actually have to have X-ray Visor to beat him.
Yeah, and it's also useful for
even the only instance where it's required. Thermal Visor actually isn't required, but because we run for in-game time, it's actually not too out of the way to get. If you're running this for RTA, there's more of a reason to actually skip Thermal Visor, but regardless, you do need X-ray. Normally, you're supposed to climb up the outside of this room, and you activate another Chozo Ghost fight. We're just gonna R-jump across and just skip that altogether. And then going back through Life Grove Tunnel. The reason I stopped to get that missile in here first is because Life Grove takes a while. That room I just came out of takes a while to load. And so I have plenty of time just to get that missile expansion and not lose any time at all. So I got kind of trolled here, but nice instant morph too. I'm so happy. I'm also trying to hit the ground before I unmorph because I don't want to get stuck in a hard landing animation where I just can't really do much for like a second. So while this part of the run's a little bit chill and not too much is going on in terms of action or anything, it's a nice bit of cleanup. It doesn't take too long, and it does give you a nice breather from, like, you know, particularly like nerve-wracking sections like the early game, where if you fail early wild, like, you're just, you know, you have to restart your run. So yeah, and here you just get to chill for like probably half an hour until the late game starts. But even then, I actually don't mind the late game too much.
It's now just getting plasma beam and doing some things in Fedurana. It's pretty.
Yeah, we're just getting a couple. We're doing a bit more cleanup and getting a couple of items. Mainly we're just artifact hunting in addition to getting plasma beam. So
hacking X-ray, exactly.
Yeah, pretty much. I got that door. Oh, nice. You can actually shoot that door early, and also this missile expansion is the last missile expansion we're getting in the run. So we're gonna have 30 missiles to work with. For any percent, you're technically required to just have 25, but 30, it gives you a nice bit of buffer. Oh, I think I got it. Oh, I just missed it. I almost sniped the door.
I see in the delay how beautiful life growth is.
Oh yeah, it was pretty bad.
What wonderful.
So what's nice about stopping by here is that we go by our ship again, and we get a refill on power bombs and stuff. Get a safety save, because why not? I jumped for no reason. I tried to dash. Dash prime.
Oh!
Oh man. The puns, dude. They're rampant.
Oh, snap.
So the fastest way back through Magmor is, again, through Talon, where we came out of Magmor the first time around. But we're not going back to the early part of Magmor again. We're going through the second half of it. So it's the second of, technically, I guess, 3 trips through Magmor. Really 2 major trips all around. And then the third trip is just to go from Phendrana straight to Mines, which is like 2 rooms worth of stuff, so. Yeah, late game can get pretty hard, especially if you don't have much health, but by the time I'm done with Phendrana, I'll have 5 energy tanks to work with. You're expected to have like 2 or 3 in any percent, which makes Mines like a lot harder. So you're expected to have Spider Ball to get through this section. Again, don't need to. There's actually a few tricks you can do to get through here. You can scan dash off the spider track to get across, kind of the beginner trick. I'm doing like sort of the middle, some like baby strat where I R jump across instead. And then there's a more difficult R jump you can do that's faster, but it's riskier. I locked on the wrong thing. So I'm locked on these puffers here in this room to dash across this room faster. And then we're going to do a slope jump and skip grapple beam in Geocore, this gigantic room here. Plasma beam resides at the top of this room. You can also get this item without boost ball, but you have to go out of bounds or get a really good scan dash, which I think requires either having space jump or getting a property known as floaty jump, where you can jump really high and your gravity is like reduced a lot. So it's like you're jumping like on the moon. It's kind of weird. Like floaty jump's basically like if you're on the Moon Kingdom in Mario Odyssey, and you can just jump really high and fall down really slow. And then we can just sort of slope jump up that spider track and skip the spider track. Okay, technically you're required to have 5 missiles, Whiskers, but to go fast, you're expected to have 25 missiles by the time you get to Mines. You need 20 for the Omega Pirate, at least to go fast with missiles, and then you want 24 for one of the mini bosses. So by doing again, abusing standable collision, there's like a really tiny ledge on the wall we can just jump to, and then we can jump on the spider track and just jump our way to Plasma Beam without needing Spider Ball whatsoever. There's a more difficult R jump you can do to get across, but if you fall down, it's a lot of time lost. So yeah, now we have all 4 beams. Pretty amazing stuff, actually. We do need Plasma Beam for an artifact in Phendrana Drifts. There's a plasma door that can only be opened by Plasma Beam. As you've seen, the doors are color coded, so like Wave Beam opens purple doors, Ice Beam opens white doors, and then Plasma opens red doors. And there's one red door that we have to get through in Phendrana that houses a required item. So by getting Plasma now, we don't have to make an extra trip through there. We can just do all of the second half of Phendrana Drifts in one go. So again, this spider track here, you kind of need Spider Ball for, but we're just gonna, again, skip it. It's actually, like, only 2 rooms in Phazon Mines where skipping Spider Ball is actually, like, pretty hard. Otherwise, the skips are, like, pretty easy. They do require a bit of practice, but they're not too difficult. So we're gonna take a little detour. Not really a detour, but, we have to stop in Phendrana again, because there's a couple of Chozo artifacts we need to get. There's one in here. This is like one of the most out-of-the-way ones we need. You're expected to like sort of shoot down these stalactites with missiles and then use them as platforms, but we can just dash across and space jump. It's all good. There's some flying space pirates here. I'm just gonna kill them. I think one shot of a regular plasma beam will do enough damage where they'll just burn to death. Those missiles can knock you back quite a ways though, so they're pretty annoying. And then by slope jumping off this branch, I can just skip grapple beam. There's another slope jump I can do to get up to this other platform. Normally in 80%, I wouldn't actually jump across here, but there's another power bomb expansion. We need to use a power bomb expansion right now. Oh, we just need to use a power bomb right now, but we were only carrying one. And while we can refill in the pirate labs, it's actually really determined by luck whether you can get a drop. We can't rely on Magmor Caverns dropping it. Also, you can also open that plasma door through the wall before you power bomb it.
He basically just wants to get a power bomb drop off before leaving Phendrana.
Yeah, or you can just take a slight time loss and just grab that extra power bomb expansion that I just got. So now I don't have to worry about power bombs. I can just have a guaranteed one for to get into Phazon Mines. It's not too uncommon. Like it's not hard to get a good power bomb drop in the labs, which we're going to up next. It's kind of funny actually. It's faster to go into labs backwards than forwards. And I completely lost my train of thought, but we're going to labs just backwards. And some really interesting stuff happens going through it backwards. I was trying to scan dash off that guy, but he wasn't being cooperative and I got kind of destroyed. This seems a little dangerous. I'm going to kill these enemies just to not take too much damage. I do have 2 energy tanks, but I don't want to be stuck here just, you know, eating up a bunch of damage. It's easy to get knocked around by both the turrets and the... Oh, actually made it. Okay, whatever. It's easy to get knocked around by both the flying pirates and the turrets, like, down on the ground, so... There's one more space pirate up here, but he's kind of just chilling. He likes to sort of fall down sometimes and get a vantage point to get up to you, but again, just abusing... Oh, I overshot it. Okay, that's fine. I was supposed to stand on the top of one of those, like, rods or something, and you can actually just stand on it. The reason I say stand on it is, the game needs to think that you're standing on something to be able to actually jump off. But thankfully, again, there's a lot of stuff you can actually stand on. So, this room's interesting. We're supposed to go through it the other way in. You're kind of trapped in this room, encased by glass. And it's a pretty big, like, story element in the game, because it's like, the first Metroid you run into. But by coming in here backwards, you can... Oh, that's a nice drop, actually. By not going in this room too fast, the space part will still activate its AI and jump through the glass for you. So while we're just... This is an unskippable cutscene, unfortunately. So... This whole sequence is just completely messed up.
So, can I talk a little bit during the cutscene?
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, the cutscene ended, but I'm
Alright.
just going to the rooms right now.
Alright. So, 5 hours ago, we have received a $2 donation from Mario Master 409 saying, "Good luck on the run, my dude. Money goes to your choice." And also, we have just received a $10 donation from Dragolinas saying, "But
Oh,
Bash,
man.
isn't every room inside a box? Why haven't you told it yet?"
Because Out of Bounds is
GW.
cheating, that's why. So, even though I have Plasma
Thank
Beam...
you so much for the generosity.
Yeah, thank you
We'll
guys.
add that to the donation tracker as soon as Sasaki gets back.
So I just shot this tower in a way I wasn't supposed to. You're normally supposed to go up to like this this frosted window, melt it with Plasma Beam, and then shoot a missile into like those explosives. There's like these force fields that you're supposed to... that you can't jump into. Oh, I completely missed that, but yeah, again, another Chozo artifact in here. That's why we're here, mainly in labs. But by jumping over that wall, or jumping high enough, you can clear the wall and just aim above it and just shoot down instead. I don't want to boost off this ramp because there's a fight trigger that's right here. I don't want to activate.
Like, I remember in early YouTube, this whole tower thing was a huge thing. It was
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
pretty important for me, yeah.
Now, you could go a little bit out of your way for super missiles. I don't need them. They're nice, but they're just a little bit too out of the way for me, so I'm just going to skip them. This is another pretty free energy tank you can get. It's about an 8-second time loss, I think, but not too out of the way. There's another energy tank that's virtually free that I'll be getting pretty soon, too. And then climbing down Research Core to get Thermal Visor. I want to kill this guy first. It could be a little bit daunting because you're probably taking a lot of damage at this point, so you probably only have like about an energy tank worth of health left, and I'm totally missing that scan point, which is bad, but whatever. I can just scan this guy from below if I don't get destroyed. Alright, I need to kill these guys. This is ridiculous. At least that one I want to destroy. So, there's these cutscenes that play, and you have to scan a couple of these terminals here, and it takes a bit, like, in terms of the real time. But for in-game time, it's you're really not losing that much time getting Thermal Visor, so we're just gonna get it anyway. Not too useful for us. You don't actually need Thermal Visor for like the wave beam puzzles that you have to do, like say in this room to get out. The power goes out. You're expected to climb out all the way through here because you don't have Ice Beam in the labs when you first visit them. So.
Like for example, you on all these thermal wire puzzles, you can just shoot at the energy things. You can just shoot at farthest, the weak spots. Like useful.
That's useful too if you fight Thardis. We're not gonna fight him though. Spoiler alert.
Oh no, but he's the best boss in the game.
No, just no. Spider Ball is nice, but. Yeah, so this is the energy tank I was talking about. It's like right here. You're losing basically no time getting it, so you might as well just get it. You also want that energy. You also want that health refill for mines, which is coming up right now. So that's Vidrana Drift. We're done with Vidrana. That's all we're doing. Artifacts, Wave Beam, Boost Ball, and optionally Thermal Visor. We could skip it. It would just make the final boss a little bit more difficult because you wouldn't be able to see one of his phases. But I'll get to that when we actually get to the end of the game.
Farthest was even uninspiring before there were even werewolf monsters.
Dude, this is gonna be fun. I have 5 energy tanks. I can just tank all the damage I want in mines. So normally the normal way to get into phase on mines is you're supposed to go in from Talon Overworld near where the X-ray visor was. But because we have power bombs now, we can just enter this side. It skips a lot of the upper mine section that we don't really want to go through yet anyways. And it just makes it... Well, I went to Morph earlier, but whatever. But yeah, mines is interesting. It's Like it's one of the last levels of the game that you visit. It's where all the late game happens. In terms of like items, story progression, etc.
It's pretty
And
easy
it's a
to
very,
die
very
back casually.
yes. There's just lots of like there's a lot of stronger space pirates and other strong enemies you'll fight here. But it's also a pretty technically demanding like platforming section too. There's a lot of opportunity for time loss, especially with the smaller platforms in general. I missed that turret. These turrets too are actually stronger than the other turrets you normally see. So there's some stronger space pirates here that thankfully didn't shoot me. So basically, I just skipped basically to like the halfway point of the upper mine section. I want to run to that trigger even though this cutscene activates because you think, oh yeah, there's this elite pirate fight, right? These strong guys that come out and pretty daunting too. Like this is the moment where like shit kind of gets real in a sense, but I kind of can just jump off of them even though I fell off and skip the fight altogether. Wow, he actually almost bombed me. That was pretty crazy. So, we'll come back to this room later, and you'll find that he's sort of tidied up his little container. Oh, I hit the door. Nice. What's up, Fire Striker? It depends on what the streamer like sets their stream to. So you mentioned how I mentioned how like normally you're supposed to come in one trip and get power bombs, and then come back later when you get X-ray and stuff. So we're still gonna get power bombs because they're actually required to beat the game, but not for the reason you would expect. So that's an elite pirate. At the start of the fight, if you walk to his side, his AI actually won't activate until he sort of sees you, and then he's like, oh, there you are, and then he'll activate the rest of his AI. This is an invisible security drone. We're just gonna kill it. With X-ray visor, it's pretty free. You're normally not supposed to have X-ray visor here, but and it makes the fight a little interesting because it's hard to hit him when you're trying to aim manually in this game. Again, single stick shooter, it's not ideal, but being able to lock on makes it a lot easier. So to get power bombs, you have to navigate this electrical maze, and oh, that's wrong. Oh, yeah, wrong way.
Otherwise, you just use a wave beam because it basically hits every time.
Yeah, plasma just shoots fast enough too. If you play casually, you'll hopefully have like Wave Buster, which automatically homes in anyways. So
yeah.
This maze is entirely random. There are 300 possible mazes. They can vary from a total of like 15 squares to like 55. This is like around 30, I think. So kind of average. There's one instance where it could be like 55 squares, and it's just really slow. So now we have 4 extra power bombs to work with, which is really nice because we want more power bombs for the lower mine section, one of the last sections of the game before you get to the final boss or start your whatchamacallit. I'm gonna save here for safety. Again, I have so much health that I'm not too worried, but yeah, ship gets real, dude.
Real, fam. Yeah, so basically the only reason why you get the main power bomb is because it triggers an artifact. So it's like in Prime 2 where it triggers a Sky Temple key. But yeah, that's basically the only reason.
Oh, does it actually do that in Prime 2 as well?
Yeah, like when you defeat the main power bomb guardian, you get a Sky Temple key in egg.
Oh, that's interesting. I did not know that. I like how these turrets just blew up the box for me.
Like you can destroy the power bomb wall, but there is nothing.
So this is the start of the lower mine section, sort of the lower half, more difficult section. You're expected to have plasma beam to go through. You'll get walled off here if you don't have it. These Metroids are on a timer, so I want to go fast enough to be able to freeze them. That's good. This other Metroid might go after me, I'm not sure yet. I don't actually need to freeze that Metroid and dash off of him, it's just faster that way. And then there's invisible platforms here, I might get caught here. These Metroids are being very uncooperative today. So I do want them to catch on to me, but okay, so you see the spider track here? This is the first room where it's actually kind of difficult to skip it, but we can skip it by jumping on this rafter here. I froze that Metroid. I could have done a faster strat, but I actually haven't practiced it, so... Oh shoot, this is bad. I just wasted a bunch of time because I had to change beams again. So we just skipped Spider Ball. There's 2 more rooms where they're actually quite a bit difficult to skip Spider Ball, but again, only 3 real rooms that are, again, challenging without Spider Ball. I still feel like they're more difficult to understand as opposed to master, but yeah, definitely more challenging here in Mines. This actually could be a little bit dangerous because there's a lot of phase-on around that can damage you, that can just deal a lot of damage to you. In the room right before this upcoming boss, the Omega Pirate, which is what we need the X-Ray Visor for to beat him, there's a lot of enclosed spaces with these pirate troopers that do a ton of damage. They're like the most powerful form of space pirates that are not like the Omega Pirate, who's a full-on boss, or I'm gonna do this backup strat to get back on the mushroom. Using a slope jump here. These 100 Metroids can be a bit annoying too. Oh, you know what? I actually could have dashed across, but whatever. The hardest out of bounds sequence in this run would be used to get into this room out of bounds to get a Chozo artifact much earlier than intent, or not much earlier, but before you get phase-on suit, so it saves some backtracking. I'm not gonna do it though. Thermal's useful for this room. You don't need it. It just makes it easier to see things. So this is like one of the 2 instances of Thermal Visor I'll actually use. It's not too, and it's also not, so that other mushroom room I was in, not too dangerous if you fall down. You can just climb out easily. This room is where things get a little bit crazy. I got stuck there, which is pretty bad. Because they can just sort of stop my momentum. Thankfully, this room has just went fine, so... I actually didn't lose that much health, all things considered. So I'm going to take a safety save here again. When you have these powerful space pirate troopers that can do 10 damage per shot, and you only have like 2 or 3 energy tanks, it's just a recipe for just taking a lot of damage, so... Yeah, like right there. You kind of want to bait out like a melee attack from them if you can. There are some troopers in some rooms that'll just like want to shoot you, and some that would rather just yeah, he's just chilling. What's up, dude? So I want to get close to him to bait out a melee attack, and then hopefully he doesn't deal too much damage to me. That's okay, I guess. So we start to the left of this Omega Pirate fight and skip the cutscene. So he's still in the opening animation where he's coming out of the container. But this is great because he acts like any other elite pirate where he won't actually start fighting you until you get in his line of sight. Otherwise, he's just going to keep spinning around like this. So I can just shoot missiles freely, and yeah. So laying a power bomb here. Hopefully I can get the skip here. Okay, I got part of the skip. I didn't skip the... If you get just an optimal enough power bomb on him, you can actually skip where he calls the space pirates entirely. But doing it this way, it's still faster, but it can generate a lot of lag. So this is where I need X-Ray Visor for. He's going to go into this phase where he'll start recovering his armor plates. But you have to have X-Ray Visor to hit him. He also always spawns in the pool farthest from you, and will never spawn in the same pool twice. So he's just going to spawn here, because I know he's going to be here. I'm going to try to bait him out here and lay a power bomb. I laid that early. Oh, got him. So what's really nice about this fight is that Omega Pirate doesn't have that much HP, and so you can actually kill him with just 6 fully charged plasma shots, or by doing this setup where you do 4 charged plasma shots and then finish him off on the 3rd pool with a power bomb. It just makes the fight really fast. So that whole fight just went completely textbook. It was awesome. But if you're not fast enough, you can go downhill and you can lose so much time. It can just go so bad.
Okay, yeah, because he now got a phase-on suit without gravity suit, the game sometimes glitches out with some textures. Like it's the same in Prime 2 where when you obtain a light suit but not dark suit, on some items it looks really weird.
I'm gonna kill these Metroids. I don't want to die.
Wait, but I thought you would play Metroid.
Oh, nice. 2-in-1. Cash deal. So, because I didn't do the early newborn wall crawl, I'm gonna get Artifact of Newborn now. It's not too much of a backtrack, but you do save like around, I want to say it's like 40 seconds doing it out of bounds as opposed to inbounds, because it saves you this backtrack, and you just can go straight to the last part of the phase on mines you have to go to, whereas now I have to backtrack because this is inbounds. Not too much of a difference. Again, inbounds over out of bounds only loses you about 5 minutes total against out of bounds, whereas Prime 2 and 3 rely heavily in 80% on out of bounds sequences, even 100% for that matter. Just heavy use of out of bounds in those runs. But thankfully with this route, it's not too important. I thought I was almost at the end there, so if I boost up against the wall, I can actually boost up the wall and save myself from having to lay a bomb. So this Phazon, just again, if you don't have Phazon suit on, it'll just do tons of damage against you. You'll lose. You can technically get that artifact without Phazon suit, but you need at least 11 energy tanks. We don't have 11 energy tanks, so either you have to go out of bounds and avoid all that damage and get a really, really risky wall crawl that you can soft lock in, or you just go after you get Phazon suit.
Like a little bit higher in the mines, there's also some hidden Phazon which makes like 6 damage per frame.
Yeah, there's some Phazon that just does a ton of damage. Like I think Retro knew. So here's the MQB. I didn't actually like call these rooms out, but we're gonna do that same dash across, but it's a lot easier. The Metroids here are a lot more pleasant to work with than the pirate troopers. Oh, he almost latched onto me. He might latch onto me again. Nope, never mind. So once you get Phazon suit, like that's where all the risk of the run kind of goes away. There's still one or like 2 run killers left. One being like the final bosses if you get like really slow final bosses, especially when you're like up to the wire on like a potential PB. Also, falling down in this room sucks. Thankfully, I didn't. It's not too hard to fall. It's not too. You have to really try to fall down in that room, but oh well. And then you get a free energy tank out of it. So I have 6 energy tanks, which is kind of insane for any percent. Usually in any percent, like doing actual like PB attempts, I'd have 4 after this. So I'd have 3 going into Omega Pirate instead of 5. So we're gonna climb this room again. This is the room we entered when we first got into mines, but now we actually need to go into the upper half for one Chozo artifact. And even though we have power bombs, you actually have to get the main power bomb upgrade, which is where that maze was, in order for the trigger for that artifact to be able to. There's a trigger for a boss fight that won't activate until you have the main power bomb upgrade equipped. Oh, I hit the trigger for some reason. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just gonna kill him because I'm stupid. There was supposed to be a skip I was doing, but I was totally autopiloting, so I'm just gonna lose some time because I'm stupid. Also, I want missiles. So I apologize in advance. I was so caught up in my explanation that I forgot to do a really cool skip. That actually skips this fight. This pirate is not required by any means. Oh well. Again, I'll just blame my my horrible attention span, like really bad attention span. I don't have that many missiles. I'm just gonna go ahead and pick up this missile expansion up here. Hopefully I can get a decent missile drop out of this elevator room coming up. So now we have 35 missiles, kind of nice. And thankfully we have 2 power bombs, so I can blow up these boxes and hopefully get some good missile refills. Good. That's the exact number of missiles I want. I want 24 at the very least.
Yes.
So coming up is spiderless shafts. These are the 2 hardest rooms to skip Spiderball in. So I might need some serious time. It's not too. I usually don't have too difficult a time. I have a setup that makes it a lot more consistent, but.
Okay, I'm still.
I'm gonna kill these Bombus. I have to back up a little bit so I can actually hit him. So you're thinking, hey, this is a tall room. You need Spiderball for this. No, you don't. So remember that instant unmorph thing I was talking about? If you combine it with a double bomb jump, you can make the game think that you're standing on the ground while in the air for 21 frames. And in that 21 frame window, you can execute any sort of jump you want. So there's a tiny piece of collision I can stand on here. Much harder to land on than it looks. And then I'm going to sort of rub against the side of the spider ball track. I might get warped out of here. Yeah, okay, I dropped down. So this first room is the harder of the 2 rooms I have to do it in. Oh, I didn't get the instant morph. Again, really finicky room. I'm not doing this right. I'm gonna shut up real quick so I can focus. There we go. So I'll align myself with this guy. And I didn't actually get it. Whatever.
So I can talk again? Or...
hold on just a sec.
Okay.
I mean, you can if you want. I'm just gonna shut up real quick. I'm rolling too soon. Oh, that's bad. I don't know why I hit R. That was dumb. That was my fault. Usually I can get this within a couple of tries, but I'm just being stupid. There we go. I mean, oh, I didn't make it out. There we go. Alright, so that room is a kind of a bitch sometimes, but we made it out. This next room isn't as difficult, but there's like one difficult jump instead of there being like a bunch of finicky jumps that can go wrong. It's just this one jump that can go wrong. So I want to slope jump up to this like tiny like corner over here, and then jump onto this rock, which is a lot harder to land on than it looks. I have to like slide onto the rock. There we go. And then I jump on this like rail here, jump up here, and we're done. It could have gone a lot worse. So there's this like rock wall in front of me that I have to boost through here. You can clip through by like building up a lot of speed with the boost ball. But we can't go through it the other way without blowing it up with a laser, so... I'm gonna reduce some lag here if I can. That's also Calvin. He's a space pirate trooper. He's my best friend. And I'm just being stupid. Some space pirates down here. I'm gonna kill them so they don't cause a problem. Calvin might fall down here. I don't know if he's going to. Hopefully he doesn't. He's usually not that big of a deal. He's just more of a nuisance and can potentially, like... You can potentially run into him, and he can cause problems while you're up at the top of the room, trying to blow up the rock wall. Also, here's the Phazon Elite. Stronger Phazon, you know, or stronger Elite Pirate. But you can just abuse his AI and just kill him. So again, by you're just going through everything backwards. Ultimately, for like Phendrana and like Magmor almost. Not really Magmor, but mainly like the second half of Phendrana. So we do need to come back through Chozo Ruins because there's one more artifact we need. Technically, we'll only have 11 by that point, but the 12th artifact is going to be where we're going anyways. So it's I think casually you're expected to get it right after missiles. So like at the very beginning of the game, and then it opens up these like scan logs that show you where the other artifacts are, like a bit at a time. And then as you collect more artifacts, they'll give you more hints about where the other ones are. But we're saving that artifact for last, because that's like where the end of the game happens. So there's no reason to go there and then come back later. We can just save ourselves a trip. Also a voice crack, too. I could have scanned that terminal earlier, but it's just faster to do it now. So we need Plasma Beam to open up that bomb slot, and then that'll push forward this Chozo statue that covers the room with the Artifact of World. And then we need Ice Beam to go in there. And there's like 3 Chozo Ghosts that can be pretty problematic. It's good that I didn't get hit, because if you get hit, you sort of lose your ability to shoot. You get stunned for a bit, and it's annoying. But yeah, that's all the like major Chozo artifacts. There's one more, but again, it's at the end of the game, so it's really like we're done with all the exploration aspect of the run. It's gonna look like I'm gonna bonk into a ceiling for no reason. This is just to load this upcoming room faster.
Fire Strike everyone's going good. Just no, it's fine.
Yeah, run went pretty well actually.
Yeah.
I mean, it helped that I had like a bunch of energy tanks to work with, but like Omega Pirate fight went like textbook. It was perfect. No, those power troopers that spawned could have been problematic, but I think they were the type that like to melee you more than shoot you, so I wasn't too worried about them like going all rampant. And just they can really just knock you in place, and like you might try to boost somewhere and they'll just like get in your way, and it's terrible. But that was like 10 minutes ago, so I'm not worried. So more of a repeat on of the halfway point of the run. We're just this is just to get back to the ship faster, or to get back to the ship more directly. It just so happens that the artifact temple, which we need the 12 artifacts to open up the. Oh, I ran into the pirate. That's funny. That's funny. Oh, I got the instant unmorph. Nice. Yeah, so the end of the game is actually like right where the beginning of the game happens. There's this room we have to go to. Can't really do anything in it except for getting a Chozo artifact, so.
Yeah, you can go there from the start, like when you got missiles, but it doesn't matter.
Alright, I'm gonna try ship dash, really hard dash. That's the wrong dash point. That sucks. I'll try it again. Probably shouldn't try it again, but whatever. Oh, not quite. There's a backup for this. Kind of a difficult slope jump. It's not that even that hard, it's just tricky. There we go. Oh yeah, time won't be coming up for like another 10 minutes, so we got plenty of time. It's just final bosses, and there's like 3 of them. Also another unskippable cutscene. So this is the entrance to the impact crater. Locked away by the 12 artifacts that are scattered about. But what's nice about the 80% run is that with all the sequence breaking we're doing, it makes getting the artifacts pretty optimal. You're not backtracking too much out of it, so. This room takes a long time to load, so I'm just going to say hi.
Hi. So, are you at the boss yet?
I'm about to get the artifacts. Okay, I just got the artifacts. I do not have Plasma Beam equipped. That's a bit of a problem. Okay, I switched. Cool. So now that we got all the artifacts, we're ready to open up the final level. Ridley decides to come in, just crash the party. Oh, I missed that shot.
Okay, so this fight is casually a pain in the ass because he flies around.
This is actually
like,
really bad. I almost want to.
He flies around like 5 minutes or something, and yeah, in the
I actually got in the
speed
fly. He actually flew away.
Yeah, in the speed run, we just want to hit him with the boost ball because for some reason he isn't invisible too bad, and we're doing like 50,000 damage per frames to him and basically just killing his first phase.
Yep. So let's just run him with boost ball, and there goes almost all his health. So he has. So for reference, Ridley has like 2,600 health. And Boost Ball does 50,000 damage per frame. It's ridiculous.
Like it would kill him if he won't have another phase.
So the air phase is like really long, and it takes a long time to get through, and he just loves to avoid. It's hard to hit him, and he loves to like just kind of fly away, and but by skipping directly to the ground phase, it becomes a lot faster to fight.
Is this patched in Trilogy?
And he's dead. Got him, dude.
Was it quick patched in Trilogy or?
Yeah, it was patched, I believe, in Player's Choice. I know they eventually patched it out. It wasn't any sort of like error in the code. It was just an oversight of like how Ridley's damage table works. So it just happened to be that, oh, he could be damaged by Boost Ball, and certain enemies like Zoomers and like weaker enemies are meant to be like really killable by Boost Ball. That's why it does so much damage. And so if you're boosting through rooms, you can get stuck on enemies like Zoomers. So by running into them, you just avoid getting stuck. Makes it satisfying to use too. You can scan dash off of that now destroyed sort of pillar. Because Ridley didn't destroy it in the fight, the scan point for it still exists. Also, shouts to the fact that I didn't turn on Fusion Suit this entire run.
Oh, you're a god!
So now we're in Impact Crater. This is the level that's blocked off by the 12 artifacts we had to go out and collect. Really small area, just where the final boss lives. This is actually a really big room that you're supposed to climb all the way around. But by getting this slope jump here, we can just skip almost all the platforming. Okay, this Metroid might actually catch up to me, so he's probably gonna catch up to me.
The whole community still searches for an answer to get out of bounds in this room.
Yeah, if you can do that, you can skip the first of the 2 final bosses.
And it would
saves a lot of time too, because the second phase only takes about like a minute and a half optimally, whereas this first fight here against the exoskeleton in Metroid Prime, spoiler alert, takes like 5 to 7 minutes.
But unfortunately, they are only theories. But if you want to have, you can jump the Discord server.
Yeah. So I don't have any beam combos, and this is where they'd be really useful for the final boss. Exoskeleton has like I want to say it's like 6,000 health. Maybe not. You might have something like 3,000 health, but what happens is he has these like color phases that will show up. So now he's gonna turn purple, and that's where Wave Beam damages him. The fight takes place across 4 different rooms called subchambers, and that's what we call the phases, subchambers. So subchamber 1, he'll start off with just power and wave phases, so yellow and purple. In the second subchamber, he has yellow, purple, and white, which lets him get damaged by Ice Beam. And then starting with the third subchamber, he'll be able to cycle across all 4 different colors corresponding to your 4 different beams. And then the fourth subchamber is the same exact one as the third one, where he'll be able to use all 4 different color phases, except he can like sort of choose between them at will, whereas in the first 3, he's always locked to the color that he's in, so he'll never change to like purple on his own. I have to like damage him enough first to change. By getting close enough to him, you'll actually be able to bait out a melee attack, and that'll prevent him from like doing any other attacks, like spawning orbs that can lose time, because they have to deal with them. What's also cool too is that with a really precise shot as he charges into you, after you see him do that sort of damage animation, and before he switches to the next color phase, there's actually about a 1 second window, I think, where you can hit him as he's running into you. So hopefully I can get him here. Okay, got him. So yeah, I was able to damage him as he was coming towards me. And it just makes the next phase faster. Ice Beam's nice because while it does 60 damage charged, Metroid Prime actually is weak to Ice Beam. It does 1.5 times more damage. So it's almost as powerful as Plasma Beam. And so getting Ice Beam here, like, before Wave Beam is nice. Because if you can inflict more damage with Ice Beam before Wave Beam, you can almost skip the Wave Beam phase entirely. And Wave Beam charges the weakest beam out of all of them, so...
It probably makes more damage because of lore.
Alright, so starting with this subchamber, he'll always do this Tractor Beam attack on me. I was trying to kill him, or get rid of the Plasma phase by the time he was pulling me in, but that didn't happen. So with Plasma, hopefully I can actually get some damage in. Oh, I aimed down. Okay, I can still get some damage here. Okay, that's good. So this will make the wave phase a lot faster, even with just the 1 bit of Plasma damage. If I can actually hit him, though. The thing with with Prime Exo is that you can only hit like that small part where his face is exposed. Everything else just bounces off of him. So by getting close to him like this, you can just sort of bait out these melee attacks. I've been kind of autopiloting this fight, so I've just been letting him do his thing. And again, beam combos like super missiles and stuff make this fight a lot faster. They just do so much damage.
Basically, just because like the wave beam and the plasma beam combo just or what was the English word for that? Not auto target. Homing, right?
Oh, with wave beam, yeah. Wave Buster's nice, but it eats up a lot of missiles. So yeah, so you see right there, he's just gonna switch between color phases like at his own will, and then he'll like randomly speed up. It's full of randomness and just it's awful. So he's really trolling right now. Although having plasma's actually good, but he's like spawning all these orbs and they're really annoying. Now the orbs are nice because they can give you refills, but the issue is that they can also damage you for like a ton of damage. So damage you for a ton of damage, and I got hit, so that's not good. But he's in Ice Beam mode, so like he'll still take a bunch of damage unless he changes phases again, which he's doing that. Back to Plasma, and he'll just charge at you for no reason. Like again, just you're getting a prime example, no pun absolutely intended, of just what exactly he'll do. Like when he wants to. Usually he's actually really cooperative to me, but right now he's just not. So, but he hasn't been going to Power Beam or like Wave Beam phases. So. But now he's going to Wave Beam phase, so hopefully he'll change. What's also not, but I mean, I could also just prevent him from doing all these attacks if I just click close enough to make him do his melee attack, because he'll prioritize that over like a lot of his other attacks. Back to ice. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so he's dead. That's the fight. Exo is definitely the more interesting but more dangerous fight, kind of, if you don't know how to handle him. But if you play it safe enough, I also got like a lot of really good refills. I should have boosted into there, but whatever. By getting enough refills, like I did in that 4th subchamber, I just have plenty of health to work with. Skipping this cutscene skips the final boss music. Sorry. So this is Essence. Get ready on time, by the way. This is gonna end hopefully kind of fast, but There's two techniques I can do here. I can't damage him at all until he lays a Phazon pool. The reason why you have to get Phazon suit is to get what's also called the Phazon beam, and it only activates when he lays these pools. This is where the 4 visors come in handy. The thermal visor really is only useful for this fight. It just lets you attack him faster. So, where's the pool? Oh shit, I don't want him to be there. Okay, this is a little better, but I want him to move. Okay, that's kind of bitter. Not really, though. So I'm going to shoot him about once a second here. And that'll basically make him skip whatever attack animation he was doing. Unfortunately, he was too close to the corpse, so I got the instant... What'll happen is he does a set number of attacks, and then he'll lay a pool. But if he's close enough to where that corpse is over there, he'll just immediately change to the next visor. So he always starts off in... when he actually lays a pool, he'll go to X-ray visor, then go to thermal on the next pool lay, unless he like just is close to the corpse, and then go back to combat visor, always in that order. So having thermal's nice because it just ideally makes the fight a lot faster because you can actually aim at him. You want to be locked onto him when you're firing the Phazon beam. That way the actual like beam particles themselves will whatchamacallit, lock onto him and home in on him. I want him to move. That's better. So ideally you can actually finish this fight in like 3 Phazon pools, but it didn't work out. I was just being dumb. So now I'm just letting him do his attacks and then immediately canceling them by shooting Phazon beam. And then this will just make him immediately lay a pool. Like this. So again, like this fight usually can take a while. But okay, he died, so that's good. I'm gonna have to like probably 5-pull this. This is actually really bad. Alright, I'm sorry. Alright, no problem, Saki. Another thing you can do too is called pool canceling, where if you fire the phazon beam and then immediately step outside the pool, you'll actually conserve all your ammunition. So, but I just wanted to keep laying phazon pools because I can just keep damaging him pretty quick. So by doing pool cancel like this, I can fire the phazon beam and then use up no ammunition at all. Get ready on time, by the way. Time stops when the cutscene happens. This should be fine. Yeah, he's dead. And time.
He's dead.
So that fight could have gone a lot faster. I just didn't handle it very well. I was trying to get him to move away from the corpse, but sometimes he just won't cooperate, so. But yeah, that's Metroid Prime, dude, in just under an hour and 40 minutes. I actually got a little bit closer to the estimate than I wanted to. Again, the spiderless shafts took a little while, and then that fight against the Metroid Prime Essence just took way longer than I hoped it would. Ideally, that fight only lasts for like a minute and a half of in-game time. And then in real time, it takes a little bit under 2 minutes. You can get it to almost like a minute 40, maybe below a minute 40 if you're really fast, but... Yeah, man, that's Metroid Prime. Like... Crazy, like, it doesn't feel like a minute 40 passed. So I want to thank Project Fundraising for allowing me to run this for this marathon. I love doing this, love talking about the game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want to see more like craziness that happens for like Metroid Prime speedrunning, go check out Hazel's 37-minute tasks of any percent. Just crazy stuff that happens in that task. If you're interested in getting to this game, it does have a bit of a learning curve. But with the new route, it's become a lot more beginner friendly than it used to be. A lot of these tricks are a little more difficult to learn than it is to actually like master. We just had one of our guys, Footage, just released a practice mod that allows you to go anywhere in the game, practice just about any trick in the game that you want to, reset rooms as you see fit. You can manipulate almost everything in the game. There's still a couple of things we need, like room layer changes, but so hopefully with that, like, we get more new blood into this game, because like this game is so much fun to run. I only picked this up like a year ago, and I've been having a blast just practicing this. So I waited out the credits here, and 116. That was awful in game time. Oh well.
Hello.
Still better than nothing. Hi.
Hi, congrats on your 140, dude.
Thanks, dude.
Run.
You know, that run was pretty fun. It didn't go as well as I hoped towards the end with the final boss, but a minute 40, sorry. I meant to say an hour 40 minutes. World record, oh my god, I'm getting called out for it.
Damn, world record, put down!
World record, no. So world record is so world record is 53 minutes of in-game time. It's tied by Justin DM and T3, both absolutely amazing runners. But yeah, if you're by any means interested in running this game, I absolutely suggest picking it up. It has a little bit of a learning curve, but it's not too bad in my experience, and it's just a matter of practicing the tricks. The route is so beginner friendly, or at least it is for this game, and I encourage people to check out like Remy Demi's beginner tutorial, where he just goes over everything, and then using the newly released practice mod that only really became available like last month. So this is like a new tool for us to practice and get better at the game with. Like I've seen a lot of success using it.
Remy Demi. You mean the guy who betrayed the Majora's Mask community? Kappa, Kappa, Kappa.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get into it. I'm not an OOT or MM runner, so. Shoutouts to a bunch of the Prime people, Izzy, Whiskers, Silicone, being in here. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this run. I really enjoy running this. Even when bad stuff just happens, it's just, I don't know, man. I love talking about Prime. Those are all the real shoutouts I wanted to make. Dragolina, thank you so much for commentating with me, man. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, no problem.
I know I kind of got pretty talkative there, so I apologize. Thank you so much for covering the stuff that I didn't cover, though.
No, yeah, it was pretty cool. I mean, I don't run this game, so it was nice to look into it and prepare some things. But yeah,
it's just crazy how much stuff there is to talk about in this game. Just absolutely nuts.
Yeah, but if you want to check out some dank ass Prime 2 glitchless ones, you can always come to me.
Yeah, and you'll be running at an upcoming marathon, I think in March, or late February too. So that'll be pretty good. That'll be some good stuff.
No, I think it's in a week, like on the.
Oh, you know what?
9th.
I want to say it was like February 11th or something, but you might be right on the 9th. So we got
1 to 2 weeks, yeah.
So we got Aggie coming up next. Actually, it's just about